Mills have long been a defining feature of Scotland's landscape, shaping both its rural communities and its industrial growth. From the earliest water-powered corn mills to the vast textile factories of the Industrial Revolution, mills tell a story of ingenuity, adaptation, and the close relationship between people and natural resources. For centuries, they were vital to everyday life, grinding grain into flour, fulling cloth, sawing timber, and later powering industries that would transform Scotland into a hub of global trade and innovation. In the medieval and early modern periods, watermills were indispensable to local economies. Every parish or estate often maintained its own corn mill, where farmers were obliged to bring their grain. Powered by rivers and burns, these mills were not just places of work but social centres where communities gathered. Their architecture, often simple stone buildings with large water wheels, became a familiar part of the Scottish countryside, blending functionality with the beauty of their natural settings. By the 18th and 19th centuries, Scotland's mills expanded in both scale and purpose. Textile mills, particularly in places like Paisley, Dundee, and the Borders, became symbols of industrial power, harnessing water and later steam to produce linen, jute, and wool for global markets. Paper mills, sawmills, and distillery mills added to this industrial variety. Today, many traditional mills have fallen silent, replaced by modern machinery, but a number survive as heritage sites. From Preston Mill in East Lothian to New Lanark's vast cotton mills, they preserve the memory of Scotland's industrious past. These sites offer a window into the lives of mill workers and the technologies that once sustained entire communities, reminding us of the enduring importance of mills in Scotland's history and identity.
Preston Mill, nestled on the banks of the River Tyne near East Linton in East Lothian, is one of Scotland's most picturesque and historically significant watermills. With its distinctive Dutch-style conical red pan-tiled roof and charming rural setting, the mill has become an enduring symbol of the region's agricultural heritage. Dating back to the 18th century, Preston Mill was in active use for over 300 years, grinding oats and other grains that sustained local communities. Its survival offers a rare opportunity to explore both the practical workings of a traditional watermill and the wider social history of rural Scotland. The mill's machinery, much of which remains intact, illustrates the ingenious use of water power to transform agricultural produce into food. Visitors today can see the great wooden water wheel and the gearing systems that drove the millstones, gaining insight into the skill and effort required to operate such a site before the arrival of modern technology. Beyond its practical function, Preston Mill is also celebrated for its unique architecture and idyllic appearance. Its unusual roof and riverside location have made it a favorite subject for artists and photographers, as well as a filming location, most famously in the television series Outlander. Now cared for by the National Trust for Scotland, Preston Mill stands not only as a monument to past ways of life but also as a living educational resource. Guided tours and exhibitions allow visitors to appreciate how vital milling was to rural economies and how water-powered technology shaped communities for generations. Combining history, architecture, and natural beauty, Preston Mill continues to inspire curiosity and admiration, offering a tangible link to Scotland's industrious past.
Change them out every winter time. Some of the original ones are very heavy green hat. These ones are old, but we're changing them out. See if we're passing out, it's just a flip the balance. The centre part.
Preston Mill, set in the tranquil East Lothian countryside near East Linton, is one of Scotland's most distinctive and historically important watermills. Its unusual appearance, with a Dutch-style conical pan-tiled roof and whitewashed walls, makes it instantly recognisable, while its long history connects it deeply to the agricultural life of the region. For centuries, the mill was at the heart of the local community, grinding oats and barley, staple crops of rural Scotland, and providing a vital service long before industrial technology transformed food production. The earliest records of Preston Mill date from the 16th century, though the surviving structure largely reflects 18th century rebuilding and adaptation. The mill operated continuously until 1959, when it finally ceased production, making it one of the last working watermills in the area. Its longevity is a testament to the efficiency of traditional water-powered technology and the enduring importance of milling to local economies. At the centre of the mill's operation is its great water wheel, driven by the River Tyne. Inside, the gearing system and millstones reveal the complex yet effective engineering that turned raw grain into flour and meal. Visitors who step inside today can still see the machinery in motion during demonstrations, offering an authentic sense of the noise, rhythm, and atmosphere of a working mill. Such displays highlight not only the practical ingenuity of the millwrights who built and maintained the equipment, but also the hard work of those who labored here over generations. Beyond its function, Preston Mill is celebrated for its beauty. Its picturesque form, set beside the meandering river and surrounded by rich farmland, has made it a favorite subject for artists, photographers, and filmmakers. The site's distinctive character even secured it a place in popular culture, featuring as a filming location in the television series Outlander. The mill's charm lies in this blend of utility and elegance, a building designed for work that has become an icon of rural heritage. Now preserved and managed by the National Trust for Scotland, Preston Mill serves as both a monument and an educational resource. Visitors can explore the mill itself, join guided tours, and walk the surrounding countryside, where the River Tyne and nearby Fantasy du Cot enrich the experience. The Trust's care ensures that this rare survivor of Scotland's milling tradition continues to inform and inspire, connecting modern audiences with the ingenuity of past generations. Preston Mill is more than a historic building, it is a reminder of the relationship between people, technology, and the landscape. Its story reflects centuries of adaptation and resilience, from medieval origins to modern heritage tourism. Whether admired for its striking architecture, its role in sustaining local communities, or its picturesque setting, Preston Mill remains a place where history comes vividly to life, embodying Scotland's rural and industrial past in one unique landmark.
We're drawn in here and we have the fire. Well, as I say fire, it was more a coke oven, but it would have been in the entire floor of the kiln, which would have been covered in coke. This is just for show, but you will remember getting the sheet of paper and drawing it, put it up against the fire, to draw the fire. That's exactly what the steel plate is for. Now, one of the aspects I pointed out about the kiln is the fact that it leans to one side.
Sorry.
A bit like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And the reason for that, if you look at the wall here, you'll see the flooding that took place over the years. And these are only the recorded floodings. So the ground was very soft. So if you look at the weight of that building, it's solid sandstone. Well, not solid, but you see what I mean. So it sunk. So they had to put up the supports all the way around to stop it from 1948 the water level reached up to here, and you can see the different levels. This one I remember because a friend of mine, or friends, they lived in Haddington, and Katrina woke up in the morning, opened the curtains and looked out and asked her husband had he moved the house because the water had come right up. We actually have a mark inside where the level of the water came up 3 weeks ago, to about here. So we had to close it for a few days. If we come down here, the River Tyne flows just under the bridge. We know that there are otters, herons, there are kingfishers, and we know there are fish in the river. But up at the Lade, which draws the water off down into here, this is the mill pond. It's just basically a reservoir. This would be full. The miller would open the sluice here, let the water run through. From the inside of the mill, he'd open the paddle gate, which would let the water run through to the wheel. And depending on how far open, it would depend on.
Preston Mill stands today as far more than a relic of Scotland's rural past. It is a living reminder of the ingenuity, resilience, and traditions that shaped community life for centuries. From its early days serving local farmers to its final working years in the mid-20th century, the mill remains central to the production of food and the rhythm of agricultural life. Its water wheel, gearing, and millstones still speak of the skill of those who built and maintained it, while its distinctive conical roof and riverside setting give it a charm that has captured imaginations for generations. Now under the care of the National Trust for Scotland, the mill continues to educate and inspire. Demonstrations of its machinery, guided tours, and its evocative setting beside the River Tyne ensure that the story of milling is not forgotten. Preston Mill also stands as an important cultural icon, celebrated in art, photography, and even television, extending its legacy beyond East Lothian to audiences worldwide. Ultimately, Preston Mill endures as a bridge between past and present. It preserves not just the physical structure of a working watermill, but also the spirit of a community shaped by land, water, and tradition, a timeless symbol of Scotland's heritage.
The Norse Mill and Kill on the Isle of Lewis, in Scotland's Outer Hebrides, is a rare and evocative survival of a traditional rural technology that once sustained communities for centuries. Tucked into a quiet valley near Shawboast, the site consists of two simple stone buildings, a horizontal watermill and an adjoining kill for drying grain. Though modest in scale, these structures embody the ingenuity and resilience of island life, offering a vivid glimpse into how the Norse settlers and their descendants harnessed natural resources to meet their most basic needs. The mill itself is an excellent example of a click mill or horizontal mill, a type widely used in areas of Scandinavia and the North Atlantic where water power was available but resources for complex engineering were limited. Unlike vertical water wheels, which require large gears and extensive construction, the horizontal mill is compact and efficient. A stream was diverted to drive the undershot wheel beneath the building, directly turning the millstone above. This simple mechanism allowed small communities to grind oats and barley, the staple grains of the Hebridean diet, with relatively little maintenance. Alongside the mill stands the kill, used to dry grain before milling. In the damp climate of the Hebrides, freshly harvested oats and barley often retained too much moisture, which would clog or damage the millstones. The kill, with its stone-lined chamber and drying floor, allowed grain to be gently heated over a peat fire, making it ready for grinding. The process was labor-intensive, but it ensured that island families could produce meal for porridge, bannocks, and other essential foods throughout the year. The Norse Mill and Kill is more than just a technical curiosity, it is a window into the social and cultural fabric of the Hebrides. For generations, families shared the responsibility of maintaining the mill and kill, often under systems of communal use that reflected the cooperative nature of rural life. The buildings are simple, low, and turf-roofed, blending seamlessly into the surrounding moorland, a reminder of how closely people lived in balance with their environment. Today, the site is preserved by Historic Environment Scotland and has been carefully restored to working order. Visitors can step inside the dim interiors, hear the rush of water beneath the mill, and imagine the daily rhythms of those who once relied on its steady grind. The experience is both humble and powerful, reminding us that survival in such remote landscapes depended on shared knowledge, practical skill, and respect for natural forces. In essence, the Norse Mill and Kill encapsulates the story of the Hebrides, a story of resilience, adaptation, and continuity. Though the technology is simple, its impact was profound, sustaining communities for hundreds of years. Today, it stands as a unique heritage site, allowing modern audiences to connect with an ancient way of life and to appreciate the enduring legacy of Norse influence in Scotland's islands.
The Norse Mill and Kiln at Shawbost endures as one of the most evocative reminders of Scotland's rural heritage and the Norse legacy that shaped life in the Hebrides. Though small and unassuming, the site tells a story of survival, adaptation, and community. For generations, families relied on its simple water-driven mechanism and peat-fired kiln to produce meal, the very foundation of their diet. In an environment where the climate was harsh and resources limited, the ability to dry and grind grain was not a luxury but a necessity, one that bound communities together in shared labor and mutual reliance. The buildings themselves, with their turf roofs and sturdy stone walls, symbolize the intimate relationship between people and landscape. They blend seamlessly into the Hebridean scenery, reflecting both practicality and respect for the natural world. Unlike the grand industrial mills that would later transform Scotland's lowlands, the Norse mill and kiln speaks of continuity rather than scale, of traditions carried forward through centuries with little change. Today, under the care of Historic Environment Scotland, the site is preserved not as a static relic but as a living testimony. Visitors can still hear the water rushing beneath the mill and imagine the steady rhythm of stones turning grain into meal. In this way, the Norse mill and kiln offers more than history, it offers connection. It bridges past and present, reminding us of the resilience of island communities and the enduring importance of cooperation, ingenuity, and respect for nature. Ultimately, the Norse mill and kiln is more than a heritage attraction. It is a symbol of cultural identity, survival, and the human capacity to thrive in harmony with the land. Its quiet presence ensures that these lessons are not forgotten. Mills in Scotland stand as enduring witnesses to centuries of human endeavour, resourcefulness, and adaptation. From small parish corn mills grinding the daily bread of rural communities to the mighty textile factories that powered the Industrial Revolution, they embody a story of continuity and change. What began with simple water wheels turning quietly in village burns eventually expanded into vast complexes where steam and water power drove Scotland's industrial ambitions onto the world stage. Although many mills have fallen into disuse, their legacy continues to shape Scotland's landscapes and communities. Some survive in remarkable condition, preserved as heritage sites, such as Preston Mill in East Lothian or the internationally celebrated cotton mills of New Lanark. These places not only conserve historic buildings and machinery but also keep alive the stories of the people whose lives were bound to their rhythms: farmers, mill workers, engineers, and entrepreneurs. The architecture and surviving technology allow us to glimpse the innovation and labour that once defined Scotland's economy, while their picturesque settings remind us of the close interdependence between natural resources and human ingenuity. Today, mills serve as powerful symbols of Scotland's identity, places of education, inspiration, and reflection. They illustrate how communities harnessed water, wind, and later steam to sustain livelihoods and fuel progress. At the same time, they remind us of the social challenges of industrialization, including harsh working conditions and economic dependence. By visiting, preserving, and studying these sites, we not only honor Scotland's industrious past but also draw lessons for the present about sustainability, resilience, and community. In this way, the mills of Scotland remain more than relics of history, they are living reminders of a nation's capacity to innovate, adapt, and endure.